Ride with us a little while, stranger.
It's a kind offer. Miles of dusty road through the rolling prairies have recast this landscape as an exhausting soup of wind and misery. There are 4 of them on the wagon, a perfect nuclear family. Mother, father, son, daughter, and a small fuzzy terrier trailing behind. But the pace of their movement is glacial. The draft horse ambles forward, one agonizingly slow step at a time.
Ain't no point rushing to get where we were going.
The wooden cart shivers with every pebble on the road that its wheels must laboriously traverse. The girl in the back pipes up.
The going's the point, see?
Time stretches wearily. The father sometimes makes half-inch adjustments to the horse's trajectory, keeping him from ambling off the road. There is some intimation that they are heading for Oregon, but at no point is it mentioned when they might arrive. Plants grow and blossom as you watch. The man goes down the line, applying a few drops from a vial as he goes. As the liquid soaks in, each plant pushes up from the soil, unfolding and stretching for the sky. He turns to you.
It's quite something, isn't it? Soy here strangles the crops. People are starving. But even when the plants survive, they don't grow fast enough to fill people's bellies.
He smiles.
My miracle formula will change that.
He shakes his head.
I'm not giving up my secrets that easily. The state will pay a lot of money for this.
He shakes the vial. He tears off a leaf.
Here, try some.
It's just bitter at first, but as you swallow, the fibrous mass burns in your throat. You fight to hold it down, and your stomach knots tight when the plant matter hits it. You cough and hiccup. The man looks at you, curious.
What do you think?
He waves a hand.
Well, yes, there are some kinks to work out, but people are starving. They can't be fussy. Won't be long before no one around here goes hungry again.
Your stomach protests. You feel like you'll be hungry again very soon indeed. It's the midday, and yet this whole neighborhood is eerily quiet. Everyone seems to have retreated into their homes as if warned of something. You soon realize what? The reciprocating sound of a Thompson gun, emptying its drum. You get behind a car, putting the engine block between you and the sound. But it's muffled, coming from inside a building. You're in no danger, you think. So you allow yourself a peek above the black hull of the car. And running down the cobblestone street, a man in fine, blood-spattered clothes. He has his hands out, mouth open, screaming something. But you don't catch what he says. He's drowned out by gunfire, and his body slumps to the ground. The men responsible, 3 abreast in dark overcoats and wide hats, walk up to him to check on the body. The smallest of the 3 has a nervous energy about him.
People are gonna see us, boss.
People ain't gonna see nothing. Not on these streets. Surrounded by fields of corn and rye, a small farm lies fallow. Its tiny stable crumbles into disrepair, and foxtails sprout from its fields. Inside, the sunlight filtering in through 2 small windows turns to hazy gray shafts in the thick dust that blankets the interior. There's not much in the way of furniture, but on a rustic kitchen table, a handwritten note catches your eye. Never opened. It's addressed to Martha and unsigned. Her name is written in the stiff letters of a man for whom literacy is more a formality than habit. If you find this, I'm already gone. Don't come looking for me. Rest is scratchy spirals and circles of halfway readable writing about the noises from the cellar and the hunger in the darkness. The cellar door at the edge of the abandoned kitchen calls to your attention. The door is unlatched. The ground below is deeply stained with some dark residue you can't identify. Upon it, only ancient piles of chains and manacles, slowly turning to rust.
I've met a lot of people like you on this road. There's something you want from it, isn't there? The desire that scratches and scrapes away at the sides of your body. Does being out here feed that part of you? It's that way for me, living in a state of motion, resting nowhere, returning to no one. I've been a wandering ghost for a while now, and I'll be that way for some time to come. But that's a fate I should have known I was in for. I'm a poet, after all. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. Do you know any stories like that? That one was like getting locked out in the cold with nothing but your sorrow. I liked it. The space you give to love is the same space you open yourself up for potential harm. That's an old truism, and I'd read all about that kind of thing from an early age. So, it's not like it should have been a surprise to me. Still, I wasn't prepared for how much it all going sideways hurt me as much as it did. The way I felt about Silas wasn't like anything I could remember feeling before. The whiplash from that is why I'm out here by myself now. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. You know any stories like that? The tragedy in that story, it's real. Have you ever tried writing poetry? I had a family. We were close. Me and Jess and Deborah, even Pauline. We had a shared goal in the world. When I think about any of them now, though, I can feel poison rising in my chest. They didn't do anything wrong. They're all still grand folks. It's just that the situation with Silas ruined my attitude towards them, too. Being jilted plays a mean trick on your capacity for love. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. You know any stories like that? That reminded me of the kind of thing I used to write in school, just to be shocking. The past haunts me. Every day I think about how things used to be. There was a time when it felt like Silas and I were inseparable. My poems, his books, we were part of each other's ideas. Now, I don't know how to describe how much I've missed that voice. His voice. Imagine that, a poet at a loss for words. The one thing I thought I could do, just gone. Sometimes I want to hear a sadness that resonates with my own. Do you know any stories like that? Look, you can't just have a happy ending. A story needs to feel truthful, too. That one didn't. Faith. You know the hardest person for anyone to have faith in? Is themselves. Sometimes I think there are things we know deep down are true, but we tell ourselves the opposite thing, just to get away from having to face that truth. You ever done this? Sometimes you love someone and you tell yourself you don't. Sometimes you know something is right and you tell yourself it's wrong. You have to find some trust in yourself to understand it. Alone, out here, I spend too much time inside my own head. Can you tell me a hopeful story to lighten my mood? Well, I can find that kind of movie theater story at any stop along the road. Freedom. Sometimes I feel like I don't know how to use it. When I consider my situation in the mornings, soberly, I know there's no way to bring things back to the way they were. I think I'll just find my own path. Surely, that's what's meant to happen now that I'm no longer bound to anyone. But how can I? That group was everything I knew. I was cast adrift by what happened, and I can't come to rest. I miss the old group. I really do. I still have that image in my head. Pauline's house, the poets, Jess, me. But on top of them all, there's Silas. In my memory, he looms, he haunts. You ever meet someone so far above everyone else? It's like they were from a different plane altogether. That was him. A divine presence among normal human beings. Silas was part of the group, but at the same time, he wasn't. He was better than any of us. Wiser, gentler, stronger. We all held him in respect. We were in awe of his power as a writer, in reverence for the beauty of his soul. I still love him. Look, I'm headed out this way. If you find yourself out there, maybe we'll meet again.
The baby buffalo lies tangled by a fence, wire biting into its flesh. "Please," it says, "I must reach the sanctuary before they find me." The light here has a thin quality. Colors are oddly muted. There's a taste of something old in the air. They were hunters of my kind. I am the last born. Every year it repeats. I must run. They must chase. It is the cycle that lets my people survive. You hear hoofbeats. A ways back down the road, a cloud of dust rises. The buffalo struggles. "Please, help me." The wire cuts into your hands, but you untangle the animal. The buffalo charges off as soon as it's free. "Come on!" You glance behind. A trio of riders emerges at the head of the dust cloud. You run alongside the buffalo. "Not far," it grunts. "Just ahead." You see the boundary, a line of rocks that mark the border, but the hoofbeats sound close. The ground dips, and the beast stumbles and falls. I'll be on you any second. You stand defiant in the path of the riders. They're coming in fast, wreathed in dust, but you hold your nerve. The lead rider veers at the last moment. The other two haul on the reins, sending their horses sliding. You're thrown into the dirt. The buffalo crosses the line and turns with a defiant bellow, a primal sound that far outstrips its size. It drags its feet through the dirt, kicking up a cloud of dust. When it settles, the four are nowhere to be seen. You hear the distant clamor of a herd in motion. There's something wrong about this lonely farmhouse. The cows have unusual rain over the porch, and the open door shows a cow lying in the empty parlor. The flower boxes are still well tended, though. There's outgoing mail in the box. The moment you step inside the fence, an old woman screams,
Hey! Hey! This is private property!
You quickly realize that the sound is coming from under the porch. Indeed, you can see her hollering at you through the slats of the steps. You can see a parlor set up in the basin under the porch. A flowery armchair, a rug, and a little lacquered table.
This is an inhabited home.
The old lady barks.
The cows live upstairs and I live down here.
Above, a cow thumps its hoof. She twitches and startles. Her whole face melts.
Thank you.
She sobs.
Thank you.
With a sharp stick, you carefully urge the 3 cows inside the parlor to exit. Soon the place is completely empty, except for the manure. She still kisses the floorboards in gratitude.
I didn't want to tell anyone. They kept me trapped down there for weeks. I had to sneak out one piece of furniture at a time. At night.
She rushes to lock all the doors.
It was a mutiny. It won't happen again.
Three delivery trucks sit on the waterfront, their drivers securing the cargo. 12 cop cars form a protective half-ring around them. Their occupants seem to be gearing up for combat. You approach a pair of cops. The broad one pushes shells into a shotgun with a practiced motion and an undercurrent of excitement. His wiry partner indicates the trucks.
We got to get these through. Keep them secure.
The broad cop grunts. You been living under a rock?
Strikers,
says the other.
Socialist motherfuckers.
The broad one adds. The wiry cop looks away. The broad cop sneers.
Doesn't matter. They better fall in line.
The other shakes his head.
My cousin's out there. I don't think their demands are...
Maybe you're standing on the wrong side. Come on. They walk off to join a briefing huddle. It's a token act of resistance, but it's something. You drop onto your belly, the car between you and the gathered cops, and locate the fuel line. You jab a knife into it. It takes a few attempts, but you nick it just right and cover your face as gasoline pours out. You stand to find the thin cop watching. He looks between you and the fuel leaking over the asphalt. The two of you lock eyes for a long second.
Go.
He says. The girl tilts her basket away to hide whatever is inside.
You want to see what I got? I'm not telling.
She raises her eyebrows, encouraging you to pry further. This girl is either very confident or too young to know shyness.
Oh, you're not being fun. It's really worth seeing.
She twists her lips to one side, mimicking a more adult, thoughtful gesture.
Tell you what, I'll show you what's in the basket if you do something for me. Excellent. I want you to kill my mother.
She looks to check if you're paying attention, then points to a figure working at the other end of the field.
She's boring. She keeps making me work when I want to play.
The girl bursts into peals of laughter. She doubles over the basket, laughing so hard she's barely able to stand. When she can speak again, she says,
You should have seen your face. You really should.
She beckons you over, shows you her basket. 3 kittens snuggle up at the bottom. They're barely old enough to open their eyes.
Ma gave them to me for being good. I've called them Badb, Matcha, and Anand, after a story Nana told me.
She preens.
I'm very clever, you know.
You've seen migrant camps before, and they tend to look like the town dump. This one, though, on a good day, this could pass for a town. Starched white tents stand tall and many, and a stroll through the grounds finds you neither trash nor trouble. You hear some chatter from a large tent on your left. On your right, a tent in the shadow of the trees emanates a soft buzz. You pass through a shroud of flies into a curtained waiting area. The air is pregnant with the stench of rotten meat, but the area is empty, almost clean, except for the black stains that have seeped into the soil. There's only the curtain, which reaches all the way from one end of the tent to the other. It wears a black overcoat and a white porcelain mask with a fat, sharp beak. There's a butcher's knife in its gloved hand.
This is the pest house.
It snaps in a woman's voice, and and yanks the curtain shut. There's a truck parked here. The driver mistakes your look for curiosity. "You want to see something interesting?" he asks, pointing to the trunk. He opens it. There's hundreds of metal tubes with little numbered screw-on caps sorted in wooden racks. "We've been surveying," he said. "It's my job to study soil health." The trunk has a map taped to it, marked with numbered dots. "I can show you the one from your hometown if you see it here." He grins. "You too? I got a special one for our kind." Vial 1 comes out of his pocket. It holds a crumble of green-blue luminous earth, like sea glass lit from below. "I don't remember being there. Can you?" he asks, peering into your eyes. No, you can't either." Stacks of suitcases grind the parked Model A deeper into the dirt. An extended family inside defies the carrying capacity of the vehicle. The driver leans out the window. "Want this?" He swings a violin around by its neck. 10 bits. We need it for gas." You hear a muffled pounding from somewhere within the car. 6 bits then. We need it for gas." The pounding becomes frantic. The violin is yours, and the car shudders down the road. It's not quite out of sight when the back door pops open and you hear a girl's voice scream at you. "That violin belongs to Louise Ames, you dumb fuck!" The door and the girl are wrestled back into place, and the car fades into the blur of the horizon. Its weight feels like a comfort as you walk. After all, who knows when you'll need Louise Ames' violin?
I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by now I'll see them forever.
The jackrabbit flees across the desert, and the house cat follows. They're equals in speed and finesse, a miniature portrait of lion and gazelle. This drama of nature captivates, even though, if you're honest, the whole spectacle's mostly just adorable. The hare turns as it lands and carries the momentum forward. The house cat reacts too slow, skids past, putting distance between the two critters. The hare races past you. Are those? No, couldn't be. This jackrabbit has antlers. Huh. Your mighty whoop fills the jackrabbit with determination. It turns and thrusts its antlers at the cat, little teeth bared like needles. The house cat hits the brakes and bolts the other direction, twice as fast as before.
Ya mi tren se le acabe guiar. No va a haber nadie más que cabe mí o yo. Pues yo no tengo amigo más que el viento y el mar. Y cuando esté frío y falta, estos son los que me enterrarán.
You reckon he can make the time? The old-timer elbows you as you try to get a look from the edge of the pen, thick dust kicking up from the bronco's hooves. The cowboy's body swings like a reed being whipped in the air. He doesn't fall quite yet. I've been watching this for years. You can hear him masticate something inside his leathery jaw. Tobacco, probably. Never know till it's over. The cowboy's body seems to bend entirely around itself as he sails through the air, propelled by one last buck from the horse. He lands back first on the sand with a puff of dust and a pained grin.
Was 3 days ride from Tulsa en route to Santa Fe. And there beneath the blazing sun my horse began to sway. Was then I heard a thunderous sound come rising up behind. The hoofbeats of 12 horsemen, their course locked on mine. White rider,
Howdy, stranger. You passing through? This here desert is my home. Tourists like you ought to be careful if you ain't used to the heat. I grew up on my Uncle Eddie's ranch, where I learned riding and cattle rustling. But it's government land now. Seems like all government land these days. Now I'm traveling around the ranches that are left. Some folks would call me a cowboy. Not many is used to, mind. But I've been training to ride and rope for almost half my life. Name's Raymond Edward Dawson, Ray for short. And this sleeping beauty over here is Poncho. I bet you've seen some really wild, exciting stuff out there, though. Tell me about it. You live an exciting life, amigo. Freedom ain't like it used to be. The Great American Desert is the last part of America that's truly the land of the free, I reckon. I'm holding out hope it'll stay that way for a while, but every time I close my eyes, another piece gets snatched up by those fellers in D.C. But anyway, amigo, what's the most exciting thing you've seen out here on the road? What a story. Man, I'd never go bored sharing a campfire with you. Authority? I see government folks in the desert a lot, thinking they have authority. Your badge ain't gonna save you from an empty canteen, from kissing bugs or rattlesnakes, and not from the sun. Man's only authority in the desert is over his survival. So, you know any good jokes? Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna tell that one next time I share a campfire. Heaven? Uncle Eddie didn't believe in heaven. He'd always say, I'll just take a clear sky and an open plain. I made sure he got buried in the best spot to see both. But anyway, you know some funny stories, right? Damn, amigo. Ain't the world hell enough already? The past is something I keep close to me, yeah. When it feels tough out here, I look back to before I set myself free. Back when things were real bad. Only thing to look forward to was a factory job and finding some poor woman to watch me die while I did it. Out here, I got freedom to do different. But anyway, amigo, what's the most exciting thing you've seen out here on the road? Huh. Wait, that one's supposed to be funny? Traps? I didn't realize the kind of trap Chicago was till I got out of it. I don't think no one in those places realizes how much a city controls your life. Boxes you in. Anyway, Uncle Eddie always said it's rude to keep on gabbing about yourself. So I'm headed out. Going up this way, staying off the road. Maybe. I'll catch you later, amigo.
She waits by the ruined mill, in an overcoat 2 sizes too big.
Look, over here. Look at this.
She yells.
This only happens once every 10 years, for Christ's sake.
She grabs your hand, and you both look at the black gear rolling west to cover the sun. Steadily, the darkness draws across the sun until it is almost total. She clutches your hand tightly.
I've never seen this before. I've never seen this.
The sun, obscured, throbs and expands, raging against the night. The eclipse breaks. The sun surges forward, screaming, burning, writhing in torment. Your eyes burn too, as if in retaliation, as if your witness of the sun's humiliation constituted some great insult. You look at her. Her eyes are bleeding.
'Cause when my goals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to take my home. Well, I got no companion except the wind.
Here, can you find her? His voice is soft, cooing. He's lowered himself down so that his head is level with the two blonde-topped boys next to him. Can you find Grandma? They're pulling ears of corn off stalks with uncommon gentleness.
There she is.
He points to a specific cob. It's enormous, but otherwise unexceptional.
We gave her back to the corn, and now the corn has given her back to us.
One of the boys, awed, reaches out with a reverent hand to touch the cob.
This one's not for eating.
The man continues.
No, this one we keep. Come on, boys. We better get home before dinner time. Harvest starts tomorrow.
He turns to lead his children back towards where you're standing. He seems beatifically distracted as he gingerly carries the pristine ear of corn in one hand, never noticing you. His children tail after him. One of them, his blonde mop of hair mirroring the bright yellow maize, seems to glance at you, but not really understand what he sees. And there it is, subtle but perceptible. A patch of red spots on his face, fuzzy and fungal, like the omnipresent rust that you've seen on leaves here and there in every cornfield. Except this one, of course. Jagged sandstone rises above the lip of a hollow basin in the rock. A crowd is gathered in the foothills. Their excited whispers wash over you, echo off the ochre outcrops. You can almost pick out fragments of conversations. Up here, the acoustics resonate. You can hear perfectly. A woman fretting over her infant child, a man settling a gambling debt, and lingering, older voices, those who lived here before the railroad, before the city. Their lives and hopes preserved in the strata, part of the land. Below, barely visible, a woman steps forward. The crowd parts for her. She opens her mouth and begins to sing, a smoky, vibrant alto. The sound resonates in the basin, and the mountains join her in a reverberating round. Even after she finishes, the soft strains of music linger.
Pues voy a cargar mi pala en mi espalda agotada. Voy a guardar mi ruego entre mis suelas. Pues cuando mi llama llegue hasta abajo, que mi tren se le acabe guiar. No va a haber nadie más que cabe mi vagón. Pues yo no tengo miedo más que el viento y el mar. Y cuando esté frío y falta, estos son los que me enterrarán, que me entierran. Pues voy a tirar estas piedras sobre las aguas de esta tierra y más tardar llegarán fuera de aquí, porque cuando caiga la noche
An excitable man in dirty suspenders waves you over to a cave mouth.
Pardner? Do me a favor, friend. Can you, inspect that cave there? Got 2 bits with your name on 'em.
The cave interior is nice and cool. There's a whole bear hide, treated and tanned, lying on the ground. It'll be a good spot to rest for a time, if not for the human skeleton. Back of the skull has a hole about the size of a quarter. You find a slip of journal paper inside the mouth. Normal bones, which Floyd the respectable prospector ain't touched nor seen much, merely stumbled upon during honest business. The man jumps out of his suspenders when he notices your return.
Friend! Oh, gave me an awful scare. Making me think you got lost in there. Hey, you see those bones? How do you think that fella croaked?
The man slaps his forehead and tongue clicks.
Why didn't I think of that? Yeah, it's a dangerous world we live in. Can't step off your porch without tripping headfirst into a pickaxe. Well, stay safe, friend.
He tips his hat and departs. You feel something behind your ear. Oh, it's a shiny silver coin. Great.
And last among their number, a chilling sight to see.
The steady spin of the lasso is hypnotic,
Help me out here.
says the man.
I've been hunting this horse a long time. Extra pair of hands will make sure she doesn't get the better of me. She belonged to someone who wronged me. Butch slipped out of this world before I could square things between us, but damn did he love this horse.
He grins.
If she bucks real hard, haul on the rope. Buy me some time.
He flicks the lasso, roping her neatly with his first throw. He presses the end of the rope into your hands and runs for the horse, slipping smoothly onto her back before she's realized what's happening. She fights, though, bucking hard enough to jar him loose. He slips, tumbling into the dirt, and narrowly avoids being trampled under her heels. The man rolls to his feet, pulling the knife.
Fucking hell! You stupid or just got a death wish?
It's time to run.
It was 5 days ride from Tulsa when I pitched into the sand. My legs gave
Ya hatahin halani. Good evening, Shikis, my friend. Come, let me show you how to sprinkle corn pollen. First, reach into the medicine pouch and pinch the tahadinhi. Then sprinkle it on top of your forehead to ask for wisdom. Touch the tahadinhi to your tongue to bless your voice, and sprinkle the remainder to bless and guide the path before you. With beauty may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. Shikas, my friend, I need to laugh. Can you tell me such a story? That one made me smile. You told it well. wishes come true. Well, before I was born and before their marriage, my mother and father each dreamed of a little small child running around what would later become their Hage. There is a powerful strength to the world that comes in our sleep. Listen closely and it will guide you. Shikis, my friend, can you tell me a story that brings strength to those who hear it? I do not think I enjoyed this joke. What brings joy? There is no greater form of generosity than that provided by the mother and father. The mother who nurtures corn and fertility in her soil, and the father who supplies the rain and sunshine in the sky. Chickas, my friend, tell me a funny story. I am sure you hear many on the road. And you enjoy this story. It is too dark for me, Chickas. I love this land as though it were the tender smile of my ancestors. In the morning, it awakes with me, and by night, the darkness folds me under a tremendous glittering map of the stars and constellations. Chickas, my friend, I need to laugh. Can you tell me such a story? Some kinds of sadness must be resisted, or it will feed on you and become a tool against you. Our past? Looking back at the pain that my people have suffered since the Bilagana, white people, invaded our homeland, Din Nebikeya has only brought negative thoughts that can create sickness. Chickas, my friend, can you tell me a story that looks to the future with hope? That was a good story. It pleases me to hear about people taking strength from each other, or from the land, or from themselves. One must not lose faith, Chickas. Whenever you are within the circumference of the 4 sacred mountains, you are protected and blessed. The sun is rising. I must leave soon. Tomorrow's journey is this way. Another night done. But think, what does one take with him after a day in this world? Some nights I lay staring at the hole atop the Hukan, where the chimney peers out into the night sky. I watch the stars slowly move. Sometimes a streak of light and whispers from ancestors. Always a feeling of gratitude for what surrounds me in this world. What are you thankful for? Where do you come from? Where are you going?
My body lacked the strength enough to stand. The horsemen moved upon me then, their leader to my side. He said, son, I think the time has come to saddle up and ride. White rider, well, day will come, we all will join that line. White rider, They come to claim me now. I had my time. Now I had my time.
They sheepishly, how else, approach the edge of the water and lap at it, a moving cloud stalking the plain on stocky legs. It's a huge flock, and for a long time you see no shepherd, until a figure on a horse crests over a ridge in the hilly terrain. He rides a white horse. No, a pale horse. No, actually, a horse the sickly green color of an ashen corpse. And he's a gaunt figure clothed in a ragged cloak. But in spite of that, he seems in good spirits.
Aren't they beautiful? My flock, bigger than it has been in centuries.
He stalks through the mass of beasts, their soft bodies instinctively giving way to the spindly legs of his mount.
Oh, there it goes.
He points with one emaciated toe at a black ram moving through the flock.
The soul of an evil man. One of the worst.
It looks pretty harmless, but then again, you suppose we're all pretty harmless in death.
A Spanish fascist. He planned on fleeing to America should the war not turn out his way. His side might win the war yet, but a Lincoln Battalion bullet caught up with him first.
He cracks a sardonic grin that makes you queasy.
I thought I'd take the flock to graze here, so he could see the land that loaded the gun.
Buen día le de Dios, stranger. Come, sit with me a little. To rest is a simple remedy, pero es importante. And the first step in la curación. Everyone needs healing. It has always been this way. Sometimes it's a toothache, and sometimes more. Resting the mind is difícil. Walking or sitting, running or sleeping. Always the mind is working, pensando. But tell me, What is the most frightening thing you have seen on your travels? Okay. Do you get joy from telling me this? There are many who claim autoridad over land or other people. Some accept la autoridad of others, o de Dios. La última autoridad es la muerte, death, and must be respected. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. No entiendo. Is this a joke? Joy? My favorite time of year is late summer. In August. That's the time to gather the plants for las curaciones. To be one with la tierra. To honor it. There is great joy in being alone on the llano. Or when I go to the mountains. But now, do you have a story about hope? About happiness? And the goodness in the world? What a good story. Esperanza. It is the most important, I think. Faith? Yes. Everyone believes in something different, even un poco diferente than everyone else. It is the way of the mind. I must trust a person faith leads them to be honorable. Until they prove me wrong. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. You cannot scare me with this nonsense. I have fought las brujas. I do not scare so easy. Wishes? Dios cannot grant all the wishes for el mundo. There is always more to hope for. Pero we must make do with what is given to us. Do you have any frightening stories? Have you seen the work of las brujas on your travels? No lo sé. These kind of things sound awful to me. My place? Well, as a healer, I must be both like a farmer and a vaquero. The plants that make las curaciones are best when wild. So I must be wild and free like a vaquero, but attuned to the land también. You're kind to listen to una vieja talk of nada. I have learned mucho en mi vida. Now, I wish to share more than ever. Perhaps you want to hear this old woman talk again? I hope so. The road takes me this way. If your journey takes you there, look for me.